I'm Mel Beaulieu. My pronouns are they, them. I'm from Fredericton, New Brunswick, and I'm a member of Metepenagiag First Nation. My work is, I guess, a combination of like pop art fun things that make like young me happy, and then more serious things that make older me feel powerful, seen. So those kind of things kind of comboed together. I really enjoy replicating textures, trying to like use strange materials, sourcing old antique beads, stuff like that, and then fusing kind of that timeline of old and new through technology. So augmented reality, VR, 3D printing, that kind of stuff really brings me joy. That two-eyed seeing of bringing old techniques and traditional ways of knowing and modern technology together and making things more accessible. When I was thinking of the concept for this, it looks like when you're looking at it that it is a person beading what they see out the window, when really a lot of my work is kind of in world building, both in beadwork and in VR, and kind of putting what you want to see out there. My grandmother used to say a lot of like, think it, say it, do it. Like that you can like put what you want out there and then it'll happen. So Tools of the Maker is more the worker, whether that's creator, the universe, myself, is beating something and that's materializing out the window. So you see it and you think they're looking at the window and they're beating what they see when really they're beating and then that becomes what they see. I've been working on this since last June and I finished in April. The way I kind of tend to work in everything in life is all or nothing. So it's like I start and then I work like 12, 15-hour days because I'm really deeply invested. And then I get a little bit tired and then I come back to it. So that's kind of how this process ended up. But it all starts with like a sketch on a napkin and then into the iPad. And then from there, I print it out and sew that down and kind of follow that as a rough guide. It's beaded with single stitch techniques, which is one bead sewn down at a time, and kind of a mishmash texture. Along this like window seam here, I did like a basket weave type texture. But yeah, there's lots of little textures hidden in there that are created by sewing beads down at different angles. I think it's good for our brains to slow down. For me, I'm hyperactive and I tend to be kind of like tightly wound and panicky. So it's good for me to slow down. And I find with beading, it almost becomes like meditation, where it's just one after the other. Especially this technique with one bead after the other, you don't have to worry about making your line straight. You don't have to worry about like, oh no, is this bead gonna fit here? It's kind of just let them fall where they may, and that's kind of relaxing. And I think it's like a good reminder to myself that, you know, if I'm slow, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. My favorite part of beading, like tool-wise or material-wise, are antique beads. Sourcing them is really fun. It's like a treasure hunt of trying to find basically old bead factories that went out of business during the Industrial Revolution and tracking those beads down. You can find colors they don't make anymore, and then where they're handmade, the textures and stuff, you just can't beat that they're all unique. They're all kind of different. Every now and then you find one shaped kind of like a macaroni noodle. Yeah, they're just really cool, and I don't know, they add kind of something special to it. Every time I work on a big project like this, it kind of, when I start, I think there's no way that this can be finished. It's huge. And there's this moment where you can see it closing in. I start at edges, and then, especially with this one where it's like random beads, you can start somewhere and say, I'm bored of this color, and go over here because the lines don't have to match up, so you can do whatever you want. So I do that, so then at like about a third of the way, I've got a chunk here and a chunk here and all these gaps, and I'm like, this is never gonna be done. So there's that moment where it's closing in, and I never know if other beaders feel like this, but I literally get like, my heart gets fast because I'm like, whoa, it's happening, which is really exciting to me. And also a bit of nervousness where you're like, what if I stitch that last bead down and I'm not into it? But I don't know, that moment is my favorite. And yeah, I don't know, it's really satisfying. You put that last little puzzle piece in, that one last bead, and there's no more beads that could fit. This is it, yeah.